but only a few can play the piano. That's actually the title of a book that was written by a very famous psychotherapist, Dr. Kopp. And the subtitle of that book is actually Finding a Life of Meaning. So this presentation, by the way, I forgot to embrace my passion here. This presentation is, I hope, going to inspire you to want to take piano lessons. You could say music lessons in general. I'm kind of biased. But it's also about why we undertake things that are challenging in life. So in today's world where we have the instant gratification and the very short attention span, taking on something like piano study is an incredible amount of work. And when we take on things in life, obviously we want to have them lead towards joy. That's the primary goal in life, is to be joyful. Well, there's a bit of wait before we get there when you take on something as challenging as piano playing. So, Bill Evans once said, when you play music, you discover a part of you, a part of yourself, that you never knew existed. I'm going to take that a step further. When you play music, you invent a part of you that never existed. I'm going to play a little work for you. It's actually a big work, but a little part of a work. And it's by a German composer named Johann Sebastian Bach. It was written around 1740. And it's the theme from the Goldberg Variations. What I want you to do when I play this, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to suspend yourself in time, really meditate. And I want you to look back on your life. I want you to look at it like a really broad stroke backwards on your life. So this is not a piano. It may look like a piano, it's not a piano. It certainly doesn't look like a modern piano with all that artwork up there. This is a harpsichord, the forerunner of the piano. 1700-ish, we're not sure exactly the date. This guy named Cristofori invented the piano, and he was an Italian, and we've had the piano then for about 200 years. The difference between a harpsichord and a piano is that the piano can play soft, and it can play loud. On the harpsichord, you couldn't do that. So the initial name of the instrument actually was the forte piano, or piano forte, and they shortened it to piano. It's a great instrument, very versatile instrument, and in its history, it was initially in the hands of the elite, you know, the princes and the churches and so forth. But as society changed, during the 19th and 20th century, it actually became the focal point of the household. Most family entertainment was surrounding the piano and its music. No televisions, no radios. And that has continued to the modern day, although we're trying to get you to take piano lessons to continue this onward. So I'm going to play for you now another work of music, just a little snippet again. So 1740 was the last one. We're going to move forward now to 1820. Enter Mr. Beethoven. You may have heard of him. He went deaf. You heard that? So he wrote almost half his works when he was completely deaf. What an incredible human being. And I'm going to play you a work from 1820, towards the end of his life, just the beginning of it. And what I want you to imagine with this work is that you're on your bus ride in life. And you're going along and you're having a great time on the road, and suddenly something comes up in front of you, and you stop your bus. And you decide to get off of it and start exploring. An amazing piece of music. It goes on and on. There's so much adventure there. Enter the modern piano. Just a beautiful piano. I'm going to tell you that throughout history, many of the greatest writers of music have made this instrument their primary voice. So, we start out with Mr. Bach. You heard him? You want Beethoven, Haydn, Mozart, they're all pianists. Moving along, Chopin, Schubert, we fast forward to the end of the 19th century, Debussy, Ravel, Rachmaninoff, Elton John, and Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea. I'm leaving out tons. And we move all the way to Lady Gaga. I'm completing the thematic link of the day. I think she was brought up earlier today. So, the literature for the piano is so rich. And, you know, when you think about classical music, a lot of people stereotype it. It's like, oh, no, I'm not interested in classical music. Think of classical music as any music that stands the test of time. Any music that stands the test of time. Here's what one of our greatest thinkers had to say about music. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music. I see my life in terms of music. I get most joy in life out of music. Really interesting, isn't it? So the values is what we really need to think about when we take something on in life. Our passion is, what is the value of, I was mentioning a bus earlier, being a driver of that bus rather than being the passenger on the back of it. So if you're a passenger, you are subject to the whims of that driver. You have to follow along. Being a driver, on the other hand, requires a lot of things. So we have patience, education, self-discipline, perseverance. Those are just a few things. And what are they leading towards? They're leading towards joy. That's what we all want in life. So, what do we get out of this undertaking? So all that effort, we set our course, we found something that we're passionate about, and we're trying to tool ourselves up. And these are some of the benefits that you get out of studying a musical instrument, and in my opinion, the piano, of course, is at the top. Manual dexterity, multitasking. There are studies now in science that prove that studying musical instruments improves brain function, increases intelligence, and as a matter of fact, playing the piano the recent studies show, involves more of the brain than any other linguistic activity. Can you imagine that? So I'm going to play for you. I want you to close your eyes again. I'm trying to move forward in history with all of these compositions. I'm going to play a little snippet by the composer Frédéric Chopin, who entered the world in 1810. And this is a work from 1831. Again, it's just a little portion. I want you to imagine that you are fighting for a social cause. You're really angry. Amazing what you can express with music. I'm going to leave you with this final slide here, which sort of sums up what I feel about music, and that is, again, to understand and develop parts of us which may not exist. When you undertake something like piano study, that's what you're doing. And also that you're creating a new part of yourself. And I think that, taking a piano lesson is a great way to inspire this. Another really great thing that we do with taking a musical instrument in these days is the fact that in today's world, we, especially young people don't get a lot of mentoring. They don't get one-on-one attention. So when you are engaging with a mentor, your teacher, you get that. And it's so important in life to have guides and to move forward with that kind of liaison. I'm going to conclude with a work that I find is an amazing exhaustion of the piano. And what I mean is it exhausts all the possibilities of the piano. It's a piece by the Impressionist composer Claude Debussy. It's called Reflets dans l'eau, Reflections in the Water. And while you're listening to this work, I want you to think about being by a pond with trees around it and the sun dancing through the shadows of these leaves and on the water. Imagine the wind rippling the waves. Maybe there's some fish under the surface that jump up. So this is a play of light and water. you.